But new day and new development on the global tariff war front, which is impacting the global commodity market. President Donald Trump threatened to double tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium to 50%, but later retreated to his previously announced 25% rate, which has become effective from today, that is the 12th of March. Back home, sources are also telling us that the government is working on safeguard measures to protect the domestic steel industry. What impact will these global and domestic developments have on steel sector? We will also understand the impact and the outlook when it comes to base metals, and for that we have an expert joining us, Mr. Rohit Sadaka, Director at India Ratings and Research, now joining us. Sir, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now. And before we talk about other base metals, first let's talk about steel, because we are hearing a lot. Several reports are suggesting, in fact ET Now is also getting to know from sources, that safeguard duty on steel could be imposed anytime soon. In fact, an announcement is expected over the next few days. In your interaction with managements, with the industry, what sense are you getting? How soon could this actually come through?
Yeah, actually, the sense we are getting is the government is again working on the safeguard measures, but and the industry is looking at it. But I think it will be very soon that it will be implemented. That is the sense we get when we interact with the management.
Much could that be? Anything between 12 to 15%? Is that what the street is expecting or working with?
Yeah, the similar number we are also hearing from the market, that it will be around 15%, but very difficult to say, put a number to it. Once it comes, we will definitely analyze how it will impact the steel industry. I think it will give a support to the steel industry because the commodity prices of the steel prices are very low and they have to be competitive with the the landed prices. So once the safeguard duties imposed, I think maybe will be supportive to the steel prices in the domestic player.
That was exactly my next question, because steel prices have corrected nearly 11%. Domestic steel prices have fallen 11% over the last 12 months. If at all 15% duty was to be imposed, safeguard duty, how much of a push will it give to domestic steel prices? If you can, give us a rough indication of how much could the prices move on account of this?
See, if around 15%, say just for example, if 15% duty will be imposed, so it will be on the import of Chinese prices. So straight away it gives a cushion or the headroom of around 12 to 15%. But how much it will increase will also depend on the sentiments, because once the duty will be implemented, if the import cuts, there's a cut in the amount of volume which is getting imported, the prices can move even higher than 15%. So very difficult to say, but maybe because the domestic demand and consumption is something which is robust. We expect that steel maybe in 25-26 financial year will again grow by a high single digit. So that demand is not a question. If the import cut will be there, then it will support the prices.
Understood. So that's as far as the steel prices are concerned. But let's also shift focus to global developments then. A lot of to and fro have happened with respect to imposition of tariffs by the US. What kind of repercussions will it have on domestic players back home across the industry?
Yeah. So if you look at the import into US or the export from India to US, it is a very minuscule amount. So there will be no direct impact, but the kind of duty which US is imposing on especially Canada, Mexico and China, even China supply to US directly is very minimal. So it will be a reorganization of the supply chain. The overall demand for US market will not shrink. It will remain what it is, or maybe there could be a marginal increase in the demand. But with the tariff imposed on the two key nations, which is Canada and Mexico, who supplies around 30 to 40% of the total US requirement, there would be a competitiveness or the price increase which may happen in US, and it provides some competitiveness to the other country who are not currently supplying to US. So there could be a reorganization of supply chain which will be there. And domestic player may also have the opportunity if the price increases there. They could be more competitive in maybe exporting to US, which currently it is a very small volume of the overall import from US.
Supply chain might be reorganized and prices in the United States might increase on account of tariffs. But what about India? Because for countries like India, supply in the global market could increase. Will increased supply put pressure on domestic prices of copper, steel, aluminium?
See, domestic price will again depend on the global oversupply situation. If you look at the current scenario, there is a global oversupply scenario because of the subdued demand in most of the countries, and China is a oversupply situation. So, if there is a reorganization of supply chain and there is no say safeguard measure which has been implied by India, so the global prices may not increase that much. There could be some headroom for the domestic steel players to increase the price and maybe supply to say US or the other countries, where there will be a shift from one nation to the other nation for supply of steel. So there could be a minor or the marginal headroom for the steel prices to improve.
Okay, so that's as far as steel prices are concerned. But if we talk about other base metals, which other industrial metal will you be most bullish on for this calendar year? Zinc, lead, aluminium, what will your target price? And what will the factors drive those moves?
See, I would not maybe like to comment on target price because a lot of tariff imposition by a lot of countries are happening. So it will be a very dynamic situation, and there could be a volatility, and the prices will remain in the range bound because the demand supply scenario will not change. Just with the imposition of tariff, there will be benefit to some of the countries, and maybe the prices may not be subdued from here, but it may not be a significant upside which we see as we have seen just after COVID in 22-23. Maybe not that kind of price increase will be there, but there could be some support to the price which will be there for all the metals, especially if you look at copper, where the demand is also increasing with transition into green energy and others. I think there could be an increase in the price. Zinc price will more or less linked to the steel price because it is largely consumed by the steel. And aluminium also, we expect it will remain within a range. So that is a kind of expectation we have in the steel, in the other base metal prices.
So that's as far as your estimates for various base metals are concerned. But apart from that, how do you analyze the Chinese economy at the moment, especially with several stimulus measures that have been announced over the last few months? Do you expect Chinese economy will revive and that real estate sector demand will also pick up over the next, say, 1 or 2 odd quarters?
Yeah, there are a lot of stimulus which has been announced, I think, since last September 24, but we have not seen any movement as of now. But it is expected that it could be some increase in the some support to the real estate segment. Apart from that, there is one more announcement which has come is on the curtailment of the production of steel. Especially if I talk about the steel, there is an expectation that the overall production of China will be curtailed this year to meet their carbon emission targets also. And a lot of steel players are not making good profit because of these subdued prices. So they could be cut in the production. If that happens, it will again give support to the imbalance which is there in the demand supplies scenario. So that will be positive for the global steel prices if there is a production cut. And if the kind of stimulus which has been announced, if it comes on stream and there is we see the property market say improving, then there will be again a support to the domestic China prices. Also, the consumption will be on the higher side. That will lead to a lower disbalance between the demand supply in the global scenario.
Rohit, thank you so much for taking your time out, joining us here on ET Now and helping us decode what the impact will be of global tariff war and its impact on domestic players back home. Thanks so much for taking your time out and joining us. But